Hi there, my name is Donald. I'm one of the co-founders of KeyWI.io. I'm here to give you a tour in our tool that we build ourselves. First of all, let me just give you a quick introduction of what we actually do. So, KeyWI is an AI keyword research tool. We cluster keywords based on Google data and then find keyword relationships to ultimately make the clusters. Next to that, we also predict the search intent per keyword and per cluster. So we automated semantic keyword clustering, and we do that within minutes. So for example, 300 keywords, we do that in 1 minute, and 3,000, we do that in 15 minutes. QE can process up to 100,000 keywords. Only 10 until 10,000 are available in our visualization, where you can see what your content structure could be, website structure could be, all according to the data. Important to know is that we built the algorithms and the software ourselves, in which we don't use NLP, we don't look at language for the clustering and the search intent. So once again, we look at the Google data and then make the cluster. So you can process your analysis in any language, location, country, Google domain, doesn't matter. It all has the same high quality as you could wish for. So let me just give you a tour right now in the app. So on the left side here, we have a few options, which you can choose. So when you start with a new keyword set, or you want to start, you start here on the left side with new, select keyword set, and you have three options now. So now you can choose if you have the keywords yourself, or you would like to use a different source than our generate keyword set functionality. You're able to do that, obviously. So you can here upload a file through CSV. You can copy paste keywords, or we can also generate the keywords for you. So I'm just going to go ahead with this option and show you how it works. So first of all, we always ask for the name of your new keyword set. So you can add a set name here. Then you can choose a location. So you can choose any location that you like. Also, be very nice to do when you're applying local SEO. Just going to show you, for example, Netherlands, and you can see like a country or a city, district. So you can customize your analysis in a way that is fit for you or your client in any shape or form. You can select any language you like. Once again, because we don't look at language, we are very flexible, and it's easy scalable. So you can use anything or any language for your client, depending on the goal, obviously. This example used the UK and the Google domain .co.uk. So as you can see, any Google domain as a device, desktop or mobile. Results are different per device, as you probably know. So you can also adjust that here. Over here, you can add a domain to ultimately see where you're ranking per cluster and per keyword. So because we have, the results are shown in the visualization, it's really easy to spot where you should spend time on, where you put more focus on or less focus for you or your client, and also to determine where the low-hanging fruit is in terms of keywords that might be related to keywords that you already rank for. So, for example, and if you want to use generate keyword set, we ask you to connect with an ads account. That is because we get the keywords from Google Keyword Planner. So also the search volumes are from Google. You can add just one business account if you like. You can also add per client. Most of our clients are agencies, and on that part, just use their own company ads account, because we only need access to one account to get the keywords for any project. And an automatic pop-up will appear when you try to connect, and that will state that we have access to your campaign data. We don't do anything with that data, so it's an automatic pop-up by Google. We also can change that, just so you know. We only look at extract the keywords and the volumes. So next you can click on continue. I already lined up 5 seed keywords here. So in order to generate the keywords, we ask you for 5 seed keywords or a URL. You can also do a combination of both. It's not mandatory. So just what you see fit. If you do a combination, then you can expect the most broad results in terms of keywords. So yeah, if you just show you how it works, if you add a keyword here, press enter, and then it appears here. So I added 300 keywords for this, yeah, just to show you what the preview looks like. So here you can see from top to down, you can see how many keywords we found. So 300 keywords. Sometimes it happens that KeyWI can't find all the keywords, and I suggest you go a step back and add a different keyword or play around a little in order to get that result that you would like to see. Here's the volume. So here's a preview of what you can expect together with the search volume. And this feature called Enhance, and you're able to add more long tail keywords to this existing set. So what we then do, you can see in the drop down here that you can add up to 750 or 1000 or 1250 and on keywords, long tail keywords. So what we do is we go again in the search results and we find keywords from these keywords that are under the snippets people also ask, people also search for, and then we add those to this current set. So yeah, in just a few minutes, depending obviously on the keywords you would like to see, you can add more long tail keywords to that set. I already have this set ready for you to view. So over here on this tab, this is actually one step before you're able to see the cluster visual. You can also have insights in your keyword sets, like the lists. So here you can choose the list of which one you want to see. And then you see here on the left side, you see the keywords. And the right side here, you see the search volume, the rank, if it ranks, and on the right side here, the search intent. So KeyWI gives insights in or predicts search intent for 4 possible intents. So that's informational, navigational, commercial, and transactional. Every icon over here represents one of those search intents. So in this case, you see 80% informational for the keyword white mocha Starbucks. The percentage is actually an indication of how sure we are that this is informational. So 80% is then we're quite sure. It could also be 100%. Also be 20%. So for example, here we have 2 possible search intents. That can happen with keywords that are, searched in quite a broad manner. So here you have equal search intent, 40% commercial and 40% transactional. You can also choose, to select a few keywords over here and then cluster them again. We just already selected in the pop-up when generating the keywords that we want to cluster those keywords. So it's already here. So here you can see I have an overview of your clusterings. I'm just going to have a look at this one today to stay in the coffee beans theme. So this is our cluster visual. The first ring actually are the main clusters, and the second ring are the subclusters. And they can also have another subcluster. You can actually see that on the cluster when it's white on the inside. You can also go over here and press this plus, and you see actually how layered your cluster is. Especially with keywords that have more than 500 or 1000, you can expect to have more layered visualization, also depending obviously on the quality of the keywords that's in the tool. This you can actually really spot easily what your content structure could be, or website structure could be, pillar page structure could be, in which this could be like the main the pillar page, and these could be like smaller pages to show like the depth of your website. On the right side over here, you see from top to down, you have the cluster tab and you have the keyword tab. So in the keyword tab, you see the keywords that are actually present either in the complete visual or per cluster. And here in the cluster tab, you can easily spot, okay, what kind of clusters do I have? What are those topics? what did it generate. So these topics are defined by the highest volume keyword that is present in a cluster. So over here you see the cluster name, the volume, the ranking, the number of keywords that are present in the cluster, and here the rank. It might also be that you don't agree, or it's not really a logical name to give a cluster according to the highest volume keyword. In that case, you're always able to do some adjustments yourself. So you can do right click and then select rename, and you can name it anything you want. For example. So if we click on this cluster, then you see more subclusters. You can also see it's lighting up in the visual. So you can actually immediately spot which clusters you were talking about. You can also switch here to the keywords, because it might be interesting, okay, what kind of keywords are in this cluster. Again, you see here the volume, the ranking, and the intent. This is a breakdown of the search intent in that cluster. If you select the cluster, if you don't select the cluster, you see it's moving, so you can actually see the breakdown in the whole visual. If we take a look at a cluster itself, so we press this again and look at the keywords, you might not always agree to search engine logic, right? So search engine logic is not really always what the logic is according to a user. So right now what you're looking at is keywords that are related to each other according to Google. But once again, you might not always agree with that. So you're always able to do these last alterations yourself. So what we kind of notice is that until 80% of keyword research we can automate and make it completely data driven. That last 20% though is a specialist doing the last part of the analysis according to a client's goal or your own company's goal. So therefore you can always, for example, delete these keywords if they're not relevant to you. You can also say here we have a search bar, so you can search in the whole analysis. For example, espresso is not relevant. So you can really easily clean up the actual analysis in order to make it more, let it resonate more for your client. The complete visuals also drag and drop, so you can add clusters. You can also add a child cluster over here. You do that by right clicking on a cluster. So over here, for example, you can also switch keywords to a new cluster. You see it's also picking up the search intent. If you click on the right mouse click, you have some options here. So once again, you can also rename that cluster. You can create a task out of a cluster. So you can say, okay, write a blog, for example, add labels, content. It's going to be for me, an informational blog. Now a task is created, and you will see it in the task overview, which we get to in a minute. You can also delete clusters. So clusters might not be relevant in this case, so you can delete them if you'd like. Or you can extract a cluster. Could be very handy when you're doing a larger set. What it actually does is if I press extract here, KeyWI makes a new visualization of that certain topic cluster. So you can press here, press on the pop-up, and you can actually see, okay, this is a new visual. So if we go back to the Starbucks set, then you can, last part here, you can also choose restructure. Could be very nice when, there's a lot of subclusters here and you want to make it the overview a bit better. So now you can see, okay, all the subclusters here, it's more presentable. So next to that, we also, what we're looking at right now is the search intent overview. So the dominant search intent is shown per cluster. So you can see there's some informational here, but also some commercial. You can actually see what the colors mean over here on the right bottom. But we also have a visual where you can see where you're ranking right now and what's interesting to make your next move probably. So you probably remember that we were able to add a domain in the beginning. So you can choose here average rank. And now you can see how you're ranking and where you're not ranking. So this set is a Starbucks set. Also the domain added was starbucks.com. So they're ranking, pretty good, as you can see here on the right down side. You can see green is ranking really well, red is ranking not well, and gray eventually they're not ranking at all. So now what's interesting to see is, to get back to that, which I mentioned before, to identify low-hanging fruit. So for example, if you look at this cluster, well, this cluster is the highest volume keyword is Starbucks cups. You can see, okay, is that, go to the keywords. Do I think that is a logical name? Well, if I look at the cluster, it's quite logical. Also see some holiday keywords in there. But also this is actually a good example to see that we don't look at language. So you have Starbucks cups, but there's a relationship to the keywords called Starbucks thermos. So that's also obviously a cup, but different materials. So we put it like that. So KeyWI is able to, link those keywords together because in the search results they have, matching results. To get back to spot low-hanging fruit, there's a cluster ranking really well on all these clusters. There's not one cluster here that they're not ranking for. So if we take a look at that cluster, it's more about reusable cups with a certain year. So for example, if Starbucks would, produce a content page with this cluster, the chances are really high that they would rank really soon on this page or cluster because they're already ranking on keywords that have a relationship to these keywords. So that's also how you could identify new opportunities for your client. We also have a filtering option over here, so you can filter on the amount of keywords per cluster. So you can say I only want to see clusters with 19 keywords, 23 keywords. You can also apply that from the layer. So you can say from layer 2, I only want to see 14 or clusters with 14 keywords. Same goes for volume. You can also filter on volume over here, also per layer. So you can quite easily see what you're looking for. Here you can change the node size. So the node is actually a cluster, so you can change it according to search volume or number of keywords. So then the cluster becomes bigger if it has a lot of keywords. In this case, the cluster becomes bigger if it has a lot of search volume. So, for example, this cluster you see changing if I change from number of keywords to search volume. So last but not least, in terms of the cluster visualization, you're able to export this whole analysis to CSV and to add it to your own workflow or make that deliverable for your client. So here on the top right side, you can choose export cluster. You can give it a name. So this is the export. Over here, let's break it down into the columns. So right now you see certain columns with layer. So the layer means it's the same as a cluster. So layer 1 is the main cluster, layer 2 is the subcluster, layer 3 is the subcluster, etc. This can obviously be larger as well if you have more subclusters. Here is a keyword that is related to that, the volume, the rank, if it ranks, together with the URL. And over here also the search intent, and also the breakdown if it has two possible search intents. So last but not least, the task overview. So we created a task from a cluster just now. You can see here it was called write a blog, so it's in the to-do phase. You can this whole visual or interface actually is drag and drop. So you can either point it to a new phase. You can also adjust the hierarchy or prioritize your task according to what's needed. and also drag and drop them from a new phase to the other phase. So thanks for watching this tutorial of KeyWI. Obviously, we're adding new features every month to make SEO as data-driven as possible. If you have any questions, please do reach out to our chat window on our website. That's www.keywi.io. And we also offer a free 14-day trial with 500 keywords for you to use. If you need some extra keywords, just get in touch and we're happy to help. Thank you.